Hello, fellow heirs, and welcome back to Weekday Wind Down with the Word, where we are reading through the book of Exodus. And today we are reading the 40th chapter of Exodus in the NLT version. This chapter includes the tabernacle being completed and the Lord's glory filling the temple. So without further delay, let's start reading. The Tabernacle Completed. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Set up the tabernacle on the first day of the new year. Place the Ark of the Covenant inside and install the inner curtains to enclose the Ark within the most holy place. Then bring in the table and arrange the utensils on it, and bring in the lampstand and set up the lamps. Place the gold incense altar in front of the Ark of the Covenant. Then hang the curtains at the entrance of the tabernacle. Place the altar of burnt offerings in front of the tabernacle entrance. Set the wash basin between the tabernacle and the altar and fill it with water. Then set up the courtyard around the outside of the tent and hang the curtains for the courtyard entrance. Take the anointing oil and anoint the tabernacle and all its furnishings to consecrate them and make them holy. Anoint the altar of burnt offerings and its utensils to consecrate them. Then the altar will become absolutely holy. Next, anoint the wash basins and its stand to consecrate them. Present Aaron and his sons at the entrance of the tabernacle and wash them with water. Dress Aaron with the sacred garments and anoint him. Consecrate him to serve me as a priest. Then present his sons and dress them in their tunic. Anoint them as you did their father, so that they may also serve me as priests. With their anointing, Aaron's descendants are set apart from the priesthood forever, from generation to generation. Moses proceeded to do everything just as the Lord had commanded him. So the tabernacle was set up on the first day of the first month of the second year. Moses erected the tabernacle by setting down its bases, inserting the frame, attaching the crossbars, and setting up the poles. Then he spread the coverings over the tabernacle framework and put on the protective layers just as the Lord had commanded him. He took the stone tablets inscribed with the terms of the covenants and placed them inside the ark. Then he attached the carrying poles to the ark, and he set the ark's cover, the place of atonement, on top of it. Then he brought the ark of the covenant into the tabernacle and hung the inner curtains to shield it from view, just as the Lord had commanded him. Next, Moses placed a table in the tabernacle along the north side of the holy place, just outside the inner curtain. And he arranged the bread of the presence of the table before the Lord, just as the Lord had commanded him. He set the lampstands in the tabernacle across from the table on the south side of the holy place. Then he lit the lamps in the Lord's presence, just as the Lord had commanded him. He also placed the gold incense altar in the tabernacle in the holy place in front of the inner curtain. On it he burned the fragrant incense, just as the Lord had commanded him. He hung the curtains at the entrance of the tabernacle, and he placed the altar of burnt offerings near the tabernacle entrance. On it he offered a burnt offering and a grain offering, just as the Lord had commanded him. Next, Moses placed the wash basin between the tabernacle and the altar. He filled it with water so the priests could wash themselves. Moses and Aaron's sons used the water from it to wash their hands and feet. Whenever they approached the altar and entered the tabernacle, they washed themselves just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Then he hung the curtains forming the courtyard around the tabernacle and the altar, and he set up the curtain at the entrance of the courtyard. So at last Moses finished the work. The Lord's glory fills the tabernacle. Then a cloud covered the tabernacle, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Moses could no longer enter the tabernacle because the cloud was settled down over it, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Now, whenever the cloud lifted from the tabernacle, the people of Israel would set out on their journey, following it. But if the cloud did not rise, they remained where they were until it lifted. The cloud of the Lord hovered over the tabernacle during the day, and at night fire glowed inside the cloud so the whole family of Israel could see it. This continued throughout all their journeys. And that concludes the reading of Exodus 40 in the NLT version. One thing that I thought about as I read through this chapter is how Moses, Aaron, and Aaron's sons had to wash themselves before they went into the tabernacle or the Holy of Holies. And it made me think of how, now that we are washed through the blood of Christ, we can go before the Lord and we can pray and we can worship the Lord, and we have that personal relationship with Him because we've been washed in Jesus' blood. And so I just thought about that as I was reading this chapter. But I want to know what you thought about it. Please put it in the comments below and let me know what the Lord has laid on your heart, or what stood out to you this time that never stood out before, or what you always think about when you read this particular chapter. So let me know in the comments below. I would love to see what your thoughts are. And thank you once again for listening to Weekday Wind Down with the Word. And have a blessed life in Jesus' name.